Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to share with you what we're going to talk about today. So basically, here's who this Q&A is for. It's if you, as I said, are brand new to working online, you're thinking, okay, well, I can, build an online business, or I can be a freelancer and provide services. Which is the way to go? What's involved? What type of skills am I going to need to get started? What's the process of getting up and running? It's also for you if you're already working online but you haven't found a way to stabilize the income. So you're kind of going from project to project. You've still got like a regular day job or something else that you're doing on the side, but you want to make this your full-time thing so that you can actually have the huge benefit of it, which we talk about, which is becoming location independent, being able to, change your situation, change your location whenever you choose. That could mean traveling as a digital nomad, or it may just mean, moving to a more desirable location in your home country and that kind of thing. So being location independent is just being free, whether or not you travel. And, as well, like I know a lot of people that ask me questions, and maybe here today, it might be similar to your scenario, is you might have started blogging, or you might have started thinking about creating a product you could sell online, or thinking about affiliate marketing, or all these other things that we read about through our online marketing studies, through, I'm guessing if you have heard about freelancing and virtual assistants, you've probably also heard and are familiar with the concept of building an online business. And so you're kind of wondering, okay, well, which angle should I take it down, and do they conflict, or can I, mesh those together? So I want to kind of cover all those things for you today. If you're in any of those scenarios, if you are, wanting a job and you're just wanting to have a second income for the household, but you know that it, it doesn't make logistical sense to be spending hours commuting for that, hours getting ready, hours buying corporate clothes or, industry specific clothes, and you just want to get on the computer, get your work done, get paid, and get back to whatever else it is you do, whether it's caring for a family member or kids or studying something else. So that is basically what this is all about, because, in our personal story, we just felt such an incredible sense of just relief and freedom when we figured out that, oh my gosh, services, you do the work for an hour, you get paid an hour. It's like, it was, a light bulb moment. It's becoming more and more normal now. So a lot of people understand that this is just how it works. It's just like getting a job, a regular job, but you're getting it online. But a lot of people, it's still kind of a new concept. It's a bit out there. So want to kind of cover all those bases today. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about first. The services that I really feel are your best bet for getting up and running with a stable income that doesn't have the drawback of that, the feast or famine freelancer cycle that is often one of the things that people are concerned about, quite correctly so. And so I want to talk about why this particular class of online services allows you to not fall into that downside of working online. Okay, so what are the services that online business owners need help with at the moment? They're things like web design and graphic design, which are the obvious ones that comes to people's minds. Things like writing, so content writing for blogs, writing in the sense of sales copy for sales pages and landing pages, etc. Writing for larger pieces of content like ebooks and programs and courses, etc. So you've got the design and the writing, and you've got administration. So all of the things that you would traditionally consider as being the role of a virtual assistant. So document formatting, calendar management, scheduling, inbox management, dealing with those administrative personal assistant types of things. And then you've got this class of services called online marketing support, or I call it online marketing implementation services. And basically what's involved in that, and you may be familiar with that if you've read any of the blog posts on VA Lifestyle Design, or if you've watched any of our videos, but the components that are involved in that are things like blog management, email marketing, so where it's the newsletters that these businesses are sending out to their audience on a weekly basis, or often more frequently, or the automated series of emails that they send to people when they've requested either a demo or to find out more about a particular product or service, etc. So the email marketing, social media management, which is just huge right now. Like that is a career in and of itself. Becoming a social media manager or a community manager is another term that role is often referred to as. Landing pages. So by that, I mean the specific pages that have one focus purpose. They could be sales pages. They could be webinar registration pages. They could be pages that are offering a free content offer, what's referred to as a lead magnet. They could be a thank you page that someone lands on after they sign up for something. It could be, you know, a whole range of things that are communicating a client's offer that they have to their audience, whether that's a free offer for content or a paid offer that they can purchase something. So what happens is when the client puts their online business together, they get a web designer, they put up their website, they get their web presence out there, they list their products or their services. That's normally done, you know, in one big go as they're launching their business. Then there's ongoing tweaks and maintenance to that as they upgrade or they change what they're offering. But there's always this ongoing need for these specialized pages that sit aside from their main website that are helping them to put those offers out there into the marketplace. And that is often in the realm of virtual assistants and online marketing support freelancers, rather than how it was traditionally, say 5 years ago, or even, you know, less, 3 years ago, where you're always going to your web developer or your qualified, you know, graphic designer to do those. And the reason is because there has been this, you know, huge development in the ease of use of online tools. So things like landing page creation tools, like Lead Pages, Unbounce, Instapage. These are the names of these software tools that are making it really, really user-friendly for people that don't know coding and don't know traditional, you know, web programming languages, to actually just have a really user-friendly interface where they're the ones actually creating these pages. And it works well for online business owners because they don't have the same turnaround time that's often involved in coding things from scratch. And it works well for you because it can add to your ongoing source of work. And then the other thing that I would include in there is customer support. So you would have seen online people doing product launches for new offerings that they have, whether they're physical products or digital products. And customer support is just a huge part of that goes on behind the scenes. And when you're helping people with proofreading their blog posts, publishing their blog posts, proofreading the content of what they're offering, you know, you have this intimate understanding of what that business is all about, and you're in the best position to do a really good job of providing customer support, because your client knows that you know exactly what's going on. They don't have to train you from scratch because they've kind of been giving you that orientation by default when you've been helping them with all of their online marketing, their blog posts, their social media posts, their landing pages, etc. So the reason that these online marketing implementation services are what I really feel passionate about people getting started with is because they tick two boxes. One is they offer a really high perceived value to the client, so your potential clients. So because the clients have a direct connection in their mind between, oh, okay, I get this sales page up and then I can launch my product and then money starts coming in through PayPal. They have a direct connection between the work that you're doing, implementing their marketing plans, and the growth of their business and the growth of their revenue. So therefore, your services have a high perceived value. Now, quality administration, if you're a virtual assistant solely focused on administration, you can still be charging the same rates as someone that's offering these types of services that I was just talking about now, the online marketing implementation, if you're communicating your services in the right way. But what I've found is that you need more experience to communicate effectively as an administrator to get the higher rates. Whereas as an online marketing support person, you can be charging those higher rates quite early on in your freelancing career because of that perception of value. And the other reason is because you have this ongoing nature of the work, okay? So you have the ongoing nature where it's like, okay, we need the blog posts every week. We need the social media posts twice a day on Facebook, 5 times a day on Twitter, 2 times a day on LinkedIn, whatever it is. And it's the same with all the other things. You've got this ongoing nature where you can become someone's internal team member. You're still your own, you know, you're still a subcontractor, you're still a freelancer, you're still running your own show, you know, doing the work on your terms, but you're perceived as this internal team member whilst still having great lead times on what you need to do, because, you know, with administration, sometimes it gets to the fact that, you know, okay, I need this document formatted this afternoon, or I need, you know, if you're helping someone with scheduling or calendar management, that often has to be done on, you know, a daily turnaround. So it's more like a, you know, a traditional job. Not always the case. You can do administration as well with those good lead times, depending on the services you're offering. But the ongoing nature, as opposed to being project-based, so where it's like if you're designing graphics or you're customizing website themes, those are projects where you're constantly out there pitching for the next job or the next client. And this is where people can get tripped up in the transition process, because there's the unbillable component of reaching out for work kind of carries on, because you're going from project to project to project. It's not until you're charging the premium rates that you can make the full transition and quit your job or quit whatever it is you're doing. Whereas with online marketing support, you've got that high perceived value, but you've also got the fact where clients are just handing more and more work over to you every day, because it's not project based. You can just hear a beep in the background. And so you're able to make that transition process before you're at the premium rates, because once you've got a handful of clients on, that's a full-time work schedule. You know, if client, you know, it's very, very normal to have a client giving you 15 hours a week. The clients that I started off with, I ended up having a couple of full-time clients, you know, in the first year. And so, but say if you're doing 15 hours, it's only a handful of clients before you've got a full work schedule if you want to do it full-time, or if it's part-time, it's a couple of clients, etc. And once that's there, then yeah, sure, clients can drop off, but it's not like this project to project thing where you're like, okay, where's the next income coming from? Where's the next income coming from? So that is exactly why I am so passionate about online marketing implementation services. And what are some other ways that you could describe that? Okay, some other ways that is described as being a techie VA, a techie virtual assistant, which means you're a virtual assistant. It's kind of giving that indication that you don't just do administration and personal assistant or executive assistant type work. You also do these techie things, which is not coding or programming. It's just knowing these systems that are the software systems that are used to create landing pages, to manage, you know, the back end of WordPress without needing to build a WordPress site, but to manage the content, to schedule social media events, and how to integrate those systems. So it can be called a techie VA. It might be called a content marketing person, content marketing support, online marketing support, blog manager, social media, community manager, all those kinds of things. So that is the type of role that I'm really talking about here today. Now, if you're here and you already have web design skills or coding skills, or, you know, writing, you're a talented writer, you can write either in a copywriting, sales copy, or you can write, you know, creatively for blog content. You don't need to throw away those skills, because you can incorporate them with online marketing implementation to boost your value, to boost your work volume, but avoid going project to project like you traditionally would if you were just offering writing or just offering, you know, graphic design. And it's like I said before, it's because the client perceives you as that internal team member that knows how all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. And that is what they're really paying for. Like, I've seen so many clients that I've worked with where there's been other team members outside of our team at Greason Media that just know one thing. Like, they just know how to schedule the social media, but they don't want to touch WordPress and figure out how to do a blog. And if that's the case, they might have some work, but often their work is patchy, or they're like looking for new clients, etc. But if they have a range of skills where they know, okay, well, I proofread the blog post, then I find an image for it, then I schedule it to publish. Then when it publishes, I grab a snippet from it and I post it in our Buffer social media account for our client, and it gets posted out. You know, then I check the inbox and I see if anyone had any questions about that blog post and I reply to it. When you can do that, when you can integrate what you're offering instead of everything needing to be delegated to you step by step, the rate that you can command jumps significantly. And the reason is because the client is not paying for your time or your skills. They're paying for their time. So what that means is if they're out there either consulting or coaching or selling digital or physical products, and they can make so much by business development or speaking with a coaching client, and they know that their time is completely freed up. They're not having to either be on there delegating, oh, can you do the social media posts like this? Can you do the blog posts like that? They can just give you a system, get the processes up, and then you can take it from there. Then you're freeing up that time and you can comfortably charge a higher rate because they're willing to pay. Very different to if you're just doing, one thing at a time. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now, I'll share with you as well a few tips for making that transition process between your 9 to 5 or whatever type of job or your situation is right now, and or even just freelancing, but you're on a project basis and you're trying to get it to this ongoing stable income. So how to make that transition process as fast as you can, because that way you're able to get through that process of not having the stress of going, oh, I'm working my job, but how am I going to get back to my client on that email they sent at 9 o'clock? I'll have to reply to them tomorrow morning. It's kind of like, it's that tricky part, but it doesn't have to last forever. Or you're wanting to get in a situation where you're looking after your kids, but you want to be able to justify having the best type of childcare arrangement that would work for you, so you need the income to do that, whether that's being able to, I don't know, take your mother-in-law out of work and she helps, or, the best, having a nanny or whatever it is you want to do. So getting the situation where it's either you can replace your work income, or you can pay for childcare, or you can travel like you want to, whatever it is you want to do. So here's what I recommend. Focusing on the services that are of an ongoing nature, just like I talked about. Now, you can do that sometimes with things other than online marketing implementation. So you could do it with administration, like I said, or you could do it with something like writing if you're writing for, a large agency that had ongoing work. But it's just making that mental decision of, okay, I need to figure out which services I'm going to offer that's not going to be going project to project, because otherwise, as soon as one project drops off, you have to find a project straight away to immediately replace that, instead of just gradually building up your ongoing client base. And then working with clients that are in a profitable position already. And so you can get a really good feel for that when you're working with potential clients, in the way that they, communicate to you via email, in the way that they word their job posts on a platform like Upwork. You can get a really good feel. Now, in the early days, it's quite possible that you may work with clients that are startup solo entrepreneurs. They've got a business idea and you're their first virtual assistant. You might work with businesses that are funded by investment at the moment and they're hoping to get off the ground. And sometimes those relationships will continue and sometimes they'll drop off. But and you don't have to completely avoid them, because sometimes you're the perfect match for them in the beginning. But you're looking to have your focus as much as possible on looking for businesses and clients that are already profitable. And that's when you know that if you've got the skills and the service and the work ethic and the reliability, then they are going to not get rid of you, because you're always going to be offering them value, because they know how to turn it into a profit, and therefore there's never any problem in paying you. So they're the two things, is looking at those skills that are ongoing, looking for clients that are going to be ongoing. And it's not as hard as you think. It's really quite easy. You can be put off sometimes on Upwork, because there are a lot of those little one job here, I just want someone to do this, or just want someone to do that. But if you have your radar out for it, you'll be surprised at how much of it is actually, I want someone who's going to stick with me for the long term. And then the other thing is, so clients, selecting your services, and then putting yourself, like being proactive in putting yourself into a situation that's going to make it the most feasible for you to make the transition process fast. So treating becoming a freelancer or working online as a virtual assistant exactly like you would if you were getting any other new career on the ground. So let's say, you were, I'm not sure, what's a good example? Okay, so I'll give you an example of my husband. He wanted to change careers. It was before we moved to Costa Rica. It was about, I think, a year before he left. So I'd say it was about 6 years ago, and he was working in the construction industry. And, he was getting closer to 30 then, and he was like, okay, my knees are in pain. This is taking its toll on my body. It's good money. It's great money, but at the end of a job, they'll just lay people off, and I've got a family now, and I've got to just go and find new work, etc. And so he was kind of thinking, I don't think I want to do this for long term. we got right into health at that stage, and he decided he would like to pursue a career in fitness and personal training. And we invested in this course. It was quite a lot of money. It was a private college for personal training that was nearby in our city in Australia. And, he was working really, really big hours in construction. He was getting up at like 4 a.m, coming home late in the afternoon. We had 2 little toddlers that were 2 and under then. So he was like, helping me with the kids at nighttime and that kind of thing. And then still, I think it was 2 nights and a weekend full day, he would go and study at this college. And, and then we'd get all the shopping and cleaning the house done on the weekend. And it was really, really intense. But none of our family members were like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, because it's a traditional career, right? It's like, oh, okay, he's trying to get out of construction and do personal training. And sometimes, it's difficult to do the exact same things would do if it was a normal career, because we're treating it like a hobby. But if you treat it like, okay, this is my career, I'll, ask the parents to help with the kids on Saturday and study these skills, or I'll, here's another idea, a career that I used to have, I'm working in a law firm doing this like paralegal type work where we certified property loans. It was really quite brain taxing. It took a lot of effort. And later, when I went back to work after having kids, I took an administration role, where I was just doing all the PA stuff in that same company. And it was like so much less brain taxing. I could do anything when I came home. It was kind of like a holiday. I mean, I was still doing work. I wasn't budging. But sometimes if you're trying to do this, it might mean, okay, maybe I can find a job in my current company or in another company that's just like, it's not going to be so brain taxing for me. I might take I might take a pay cut, or I might, go and work in hospitality or whatever it is to make this work. So, for us, we did something pretty drastic. We moved countries from Australia to Costa Rica because we wanted to drop our living expenses to give ourselves the best shot of getting this up and running without having too much pressure on the family overall. So we knew that if we did that we could live on savings for a certain amount of time. We could try and get something up and running. And, one of us would always be there with the kids. We wouldn't have to have 2 people working like we would in Australia. But you don't have to do that. You can do any of those other creative things I talked about. You can focus on your health and energy and figuring out, okay, well, if I was going to study something at night in a college or whatever, what would I do? Okay, I would be doing this for my health and energy to make sure I could get those assignments in, study those new skills, get prepared for that new career. So being realistic, being self-aware, being really honest with yourself is like, what situation do I need to set up for myself to make this transition process work?